Alright, welcome to Dividing Multi-Digit Numbers, our first video in this unit, and hopefully you'll be able to learn a few things. So our learning target today, I can divide multi-digit numbers. That's what I want you to be able to do when we're all said and done with this. So this is our goal. Some of you probably remember your steps from elementary school, so we're going to build on those a little bit, just kind of refresh your memory and hopefully move on a little bit. One of the things, though, that you have to remember are the terms, because these are the terms we're going to be using in class. And when I say quotient, I need you to know that's the answer to a division problem. When I say dividend, you need to do that. And when you're talking in class and you're answering problems and answering questions, you need to use these words as well, because they're very important to make sure that we're using the proper math terminology. So you can see the label here as you lay out the problem. Dividend here, okay, the number that's being divided up, the divisor, the number that's doing the dividing, the quotient, the answer, and the remainder. Now let's make these down in actual definition form. So the divisor, the number dividing by, or how many groups are you breaking it into. So one of the things that we look at when we do this is, say the problem was written like this: 450 divided by 7. 450 divided by 7. Well, the 450 is being chopped up and it's being divided by the 7. We're putting it into 7 groups. So this becomes my divisor in this situation. And if I wrote it, I would write it like this when I was working it. And again, there's my divisor. Okay, it doesn't change in that situation. All right, so let's go to the dividend. The number being divided or split into groups. So again, let's take that 450 divided by 7. This is being divided up. It's the dividend. It's being chopped up into groups. Okay? And if we wrote it this way, same thing. It's still the dividend because it's being chopped up. Now, I do want to point out as well, we'll go ahead and do the quotient, the answer to a division problem. So that's when you're finally said and done. So if I said something like 9 divided by 3, and the answer was 3, this is my quotient, my answer. Okay. And then sometimes you have a remainder, what's left over. But we also sometimes turn that remainder into a fraction. I do want to point out something very quickly, though, is that there is a difference between, let's say, 90 divided by 3 and 3 divided by 90. Okay, somewhere probably maybe in elementary school you started to get the habit of assuming that the big number was always the one that went on the inside, and so you kind of follow that habit, but that's not true. Okay, do get out of that habit. Okay, it matters which one's the dividend. It matters which one's being divided. So in this case, 90 divided by 3 tells me that 90 goes on the inside, 3 on the outside. 90 is my dividend, 3 is my divisor. Over here, 3 divided by 90. Well, this is telling me that I'm taking 3 and I'm chopping it up into 90 groups. And you're like, well, you can't do that. You can't. Well, yeah, you can. If you had $3 and you were going to divide it among 90 people, you can do that. It's just not, everybody's not going to get a lot. Nobody's going to get a full dollar. Whereas here, we're taking $90 and splitting it into 3 people. Well, now everybody's going to get $30. Here, everybody's going to get some change. Okay, so there is a difference, and there's a difference in the answer, and it matters. Okay, so don't worry about which one's the bigger number. That does not matter. It matters how it's written. It matters what's being divided. It matters which one's being chopped up and which one's doing the chopping. And the easiest way is just to say the problem. 90 divided by 3. 90 on the inside, dividend. 3 divided by 90. Oh, wait a second. I'm taking the 3 and chopping it up. Okay, it's a very, very important thing to remember. All right, so let's look at some steps, a little silly way to remember this. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? First off, let's hope not. But we're going to use this to help us remember our steps. Does, divide. McDonald's, M, multiply. Sell, S, subtract. Cheese, C, check. Burgers, B, bring down. And raw, R, that stands for repeat or remainder. So we're going to use these steps as we're working today on some problems. All right, so let's take the first problem that we have that seems to be missing. So let's go to the second problem. All right, let's take 674 divided by 15. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? There's my steps. I'm going to use that to help me. First of all, 674 divided by 15, so that tells me 674 is my dividend, 15 is my divisor, and let's start dividing. Okay, so first thing I look at is the divide. Can 15 go into 6? Okay, if you had $6, could you take 15 out of it? Well, no, you couldn't. Not in any whole numbers. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a 0 there, because that tells me to move on to the next number. Nothing can be done here. I'm going to go to 67. All right, 15 into 67. Well, now I know off the top of my head that 15 times 4 is 60, and that's probably going to be where I need to go. But you may not know your 15 multiplications right off the top of your head. That's okay, you know, because probably in elementary school you learned 0 through 12. So one thing that you can do is just go over to the side. And many times I do this with bigger numbers. And you can kind of start practicing. You can say, okay, well, 15 times 1, 15 times 2. You could do that. Or you could just do some repeated addition. You could say, well, 15 plus 15 is 30, plus 15 is 45, plus another 15 is 60. And if I went any further, that's going to be bigger than 67, and I can't go over 67. So that tells me, let's count how many 15s it took to get there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use a 4 there. Multiply, well, 4 times 15 is 60. We actually have that answer over here. Subtract 7. Check. One of the things to check is to see, when you subtract, is your answer smaller than the divisor? If so, you're probably on the right track. If the answer is 15 or higher, or the same as the divisor or higher, in this case that'd be 15, you may have messed up. Okay, because you're looking for, and that tells you could go up a little higher on your quotient. So in this case, I get a 7. I'm on the right track. Bring down. All right, 15 into 74. Well, let's go back to our multiplication, our repeated addition here. Here I'm at 60, so I'm just going to add another 15, which gets me to 75. Well, that's too big. It goes over 74. So I'm going to go back to the 60. 4 times 15 is 60. I'm on my multiply. Subtract. 14. Check. 14 is smaller than 15. Probably on the right track. Bring down. Nothing left to bring down. So in this case, I'm done because I'm going to leave it as a remainder. So the R in this case stands for remainder. So that is 44, remainder 15. Okay, let's look at one more. Okay, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? So 9,803 divided by 12, divide. Can 12 go into 9? I can't get any 12s out of 9. If I've got $9, I can't give anybody 12. So there we go. Put a 0 there. Move over to the 98. Now, here again, hopefully you know your 12s in your multiplications. If not, come over here to the side and check. Well, 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 12 is 36, plus 12 is 48, plus 12 is 60, another 12 is 72, another 12 is 84, and another one is 96. Obviously, if I go any higher, it's going to be bigger than 98, so I need to stop and count how many 12s. Got me to the biggest number I can without going over to 98. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Took 8 of them. So now I do my multiply. 8 times 12 is 96. Subtract. Check. Well, 2 is smaller than 12, so that tells me I'm probably on the right track. Bring down 0. 12 into 20. Well, 2 12s is 24, so I can't even use that. I'm going to stay with 1 12. 1 times 12 is 12. Subtract. Check. 8 is smaller than 12. Bring down 83. Well, look, here's an 84. That's too big, isn't it? So I've got to go back 1 to the 72. And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It took me 6 12s to get there. 72. Subtract. 11, nothing left to bring down, so now I have a remainder 816, remainder 11. Alright, now I want you to see how to take that remainder and make it into a fraction, if that's something that we need to do. And it's really, really simple. Okay, 47 divided by 5, my dividend, my divisor, 47 divided by 5. Okay. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? Don't know, hope not. Alright, so here we go. Divide, well 5 can't go into 4, 0. Move over, 5 into 47. Well, I know that 5 times 9 is 45, and that's as high as I can go up here. So 9 times 5 is 45. Check. When I subtract, I get a 2. 2 is smaller than 5. Bring down, nothing left to bring down. Now in this case, you're used to doing remainder 2. But I want you to take that remainder and turn it into a fraction. And so here's how this works. The remainder becomes your numerator. This becomes your denominator. The divisor becomes your denominator. And so you end up with 9 2/5, or 9 2/5. And this is the same thing. 9 2/5 is the same thing as 9 remainder 2 in this situation. Okay, let's try that one more time. 392 divided by 3. Okay. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? 3 into 3, 1 time. 1 times 3 is 3. Multiply, subtract, 0. Bring down, 9. 3 can go into 9 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract, bring down. Now, a lot of people right here stop and they go, oh, the answer is 13 because 3 can't go into 2. But when you're dividing, you have to take care of every digit. And there's nothing over this 2. And I brought down a number. I have to divide here. And you're just like, well, 3 can't go into 2. And you're absolutely right. So I put a 0 there. 0 times 3 is 0. Subtract. Nothing left to bring down. Now I can take care of the remainder. So I look and I go, well, 130. And then I'm going to make this into a fraction. So there and there, 2/3. 130 and 2/3. So let's check those steps again. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers raw? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down, repeat, or remainder. And here is your turn. 950 divided by 15. 1,240 divided by 8. I want you to work both of those problems, bring those in with your notes for class when we work on this in class, and let's see how you did and check any mistakes that you might have had, and hopefully we'll be ready for that, and I will see you